Welcome back to the Neuro Finance Masterclass. You know, when we think about building serious wealth, our minds almost always jump to one thing: real estate, owning property. But here's a thought. What if the path to ownership we've all been sold is actually the wrong path? Today, we're going to tear that map up and show you a much smarter way. This quote right here gets to the heart of it. For generations, society has handed us this one-size-fits-all script for owning property. And, you know, that script involves a whole lot of debt, a whole lot of risk, and a ton of headaches. But here's the secret. That script isn't the only one out there. It's not even the one the pros use. So, let's break it down. On one side, you have that traditional path. It's a grind. We're talking 30-year mortgages, tenants who don't pay on time, and yes, broken toilets. But on the other side, there's what we call the neuro-fitness approach. Think about this. Zero debt, professional corporate tenants, and income that just shows up without the headaches. This is about evolving from a stressed-out landlord to a strategic, digital one. Let's dig in. First, we have to talk about something we call the millionaire's illusion. It's that dream of owning a bunch of houses and collecting rent checks, right? But the reality? Well, the reality is often a complete and utter nightmare of stress. I mean, think about what it actually costs you. It starts with a huge cash down payment that just wipes out your savings. Then you sign on the dotted line for a 30-year debt contract, basically chaining yourself to a bank for the best years of your life. And why? For the so-called privilege of chasing down late rent and getting those awful 3 a.m. phone calls about a burst pipe? Seriously, it's an exhausting way to try and build wealth.
It really is. And while so many people are caught in that trap, the pros on Wall Street are playing a totally different game. They're using a much more sophisticated, much more elegant tool. It's time we let you in on their secret alternative to the nightmare.
It's called a REIT. That stands for a real estate investment trust. And put really simply, a REIT is just a massive company whose only job, its entire business model, is to own and manage real estate that makes money. That's it. It's a powerful financial machine that just completely changes the rules of the game.
And look at the kind of properties we're talking about here. This isn't some fixer-upper duplex across town. No. REITs own the biggest and best assets. We're talking about those gleaming New York City skyscrapers, the giant data centers that power the entire internet, modern hospitals, and even the critical warehouses that Amazon needs to get you your packages. We're talking about billion-dollar properties.
Okay, and this is where it all clicks. This is where it gets incredibly empowering for you. Because you're probably looking at that list of assets and thinking, yeah, great, but that's a billion-dollar world I'll never touch. But that's where you'd be wrong, thanks to the magic of the stock market.
See, because these giant real estate companies trade on the stock market, they're divided up into millions and millions of tiny little pieces. We call them shares. And when you buy just a single one of those shares, you are, mathematically and legally, buying a tiny piece of every single building in their portfolio. You become a part owner. You are, for all intents and purposes, a landlord.
So what's the price of admission? What does it cost to buy your first sliver of a skyscraper? Or your first piece of a data center? Well, it can be as little as $50. That's it, $50. You can become a property owner in a way you were probably told was impossible your entire life.
All right, so you're a part owner. You own a piece of the pie. But what about the best part of being a landlord? What about collecting the rent? Well, this is where the model gets even better, because you get all of the income with absolutely none of the headaches.
The secret weapon is actually baked right into the law. In the U.S., REITs are legally required, it's not an option, it's a rule, to pay out at least 90% of their taxable income to people like you, the shareholders. This incredible rule guarantees that the profits from all those corporate rent checks flow directly to the owners.
The process is just beautiful in its simplicity. Step 1. The REIT collects millions, even billions, in rent from its big, reliable corporate tenants. Step 2. That 90% rule forces them to package up the profits. And then step 3, your slice of the pie lands right in your brokerage account as cold, hard cash. It's called a dividend. No chasing rent, no fixing toilets, just pure passive income.
And there's one last huge advantage we have to talk about: liquidity. I mean, trying to sell a physical house is its own special kind of nightmare, right? It takes months. You're dealing with agents, lawyers, fees. It's a high-friction mess. But your REIT shares, you can sell them in 1 second with a single click. Now, of course, the price will go up and down with the market like any other stock, but the point is you have total control, not some long, painful, drawn-out process.
So we've just pulled back the curtain on a completely different way to think about and invest in real estate. So what do you do with this information? Well, it all comes down to the action plan. This is about fundamentally changing your mindset and redefining what you believe is possible. So here's your cognitive task for today. First, redefine what it even means to be a property owner. It does not have to mean a mortgage and leaky faucets. Second, let it really sink in that you don't need $1 million to start. Third, the practical step. Go research the term REIT. Just Google it, see who the biggest players are, look at what they own, and finally, start thinking about how you can begin building your own real estate empire, one share at a time, starting today.
And we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Now that you know this is possible, now that you know you can be a digital landlord, just take a moment and imagine. If you could start collecting rent from any building in the entire world, right now, where would you begin?